Imagine for a second what it's like to live knowing the end. Not a peaceful end, but the most violent end that humans have ever invented. Jesus didn't just suspect what was coming. He remembered it as if it had already happened. In the silence of Gethsemane, the air becomes thick, almost solid. He hears the echo of hammers before they're even lifted. He feels the brush of steel on his skin before the soldiers even wake up. For Jesus, the future isn't a mystery. It's a sentence he relives every second. Every time he looks at his hands, he sees the holes. Every time he takes a deep breath, he feels the suffocation of the cross. It is the torture of omniscience, being God enough to know the pain that's coming, and human enough to feel the terror of facing it. His mind is a battlefield where human fear fights against a divine obedience that feels like suicide. Why? That's the burning question. How does perfection end up in a dungeon? The answer is as dirty as the politics of that time. Jesus was condemned because truth is an insult to those who live by lies. It was a conspiracy of fears. The high priests didn't fear God, they feared losing their control. They saw his miracles as a threat to their privileges and his words as a fire they couldn't put out. They accused him of blasphemy, but his real crime was being free. And then there's Rome, represented by a cynical Pilate who would rather sacrifice an innocent man than risk a revolt on his record. They kill him for convenience. They kill him because a man who can't be bought or corrupted is a danger to any system. The innocence of Jesus was his death sentence. In a world of wolves, the lamb that doesn't run is the one that ends up on the altar. The suffering before the physical pain begins is one of absolute loneliness. Jesus is at the center of an earthquake, and no one even notices. He looks at his friends, the ones he gave everything to, and finds them surrendering to sleep. It is the loneliness of knowing you are about to die for people who can't even stay awake for you. He feels Judas's betrayal like an acid burn. He knows the kiss that's coming isn't one of love, but of death. He feels the abandonment of a humanity that would rather release a murderer like Barabbas than save the man who only brought peace. In this moment, before the first whip falls, Jesus is already bleeding on the inside. The rejection by his own people is the longest nail, and it goes in the deepest, long before he ever reaches Golgotha. The torches appear in the distance. The metal of Roman armor clanks with a dry, metallic final sound. Jesus could disappear. One word from him, and the heavens would open, but he stays there, standing, trembling but firm. This is the point of no return, the moment when fear turns into sacrifice. He decides not to defend himself. He decides to let injustice swallow him whole. This isn't weakness, it's a terrifying strength. He's looking at the faces of the men who are about to mutilate him, and instead of hatred, he feels a compassion that hurts more than the blows. He gives himself up like someone throwing himself into a bottomless pit, knowing the impact will break him into 1,000 pieces. The night is ending. The sham trial is beginning. The innocent one has been handed over, and the world, in its blindness, thinks it has won. But in that silence just before, in that last breath before the arrest, the greatest battle in history was fought.